How's you holding the spoon up already? How's it going, everyone? Dan and Rob here again. Doing a post-event video on time for once, because we always say we're going to do them and never do.
It's the day after.
Yes. Normally we end up going back through for like 3 or 4 weeks going, should we do that video? And it's like, I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, never will again.
It's gone. Thought's gone. So we thought we'd actually catch up and do one this time. So, also, I don't know if you saw our pre-event video where we went through the army list, but me, Rob, and our friend Ollie attended a event at 7th City Collectibles in Nottingham called OnlyFlanks GT. It was a 16 player?
16 players
16
run
player
by
GT.
Juggernaut Wargaming.
Yeah, it was a fun little event. Like I say, it was quite, because there were only 16 of us. It felt quite personal, which was nice. Not a lot. Obviously, the big events aren't good, but obviously, it did feel a bit more cozy. This one, I took Tomb Kings, which you can see on screen right now, and Rob took
Helicopters.
Rob took
Not dwarves, just helicopters.
Why is it not loading up? Rob took a 40k army, which is on screen.
It was a 40k army. After the weekend, it was a 40k army. There was no question. It's disgusting. I just clarify, guys. I got so much shit for the army I took, and by the end of it, I embraced it. I apologised to my opponents, and most of them went, "You're sad to play against, but you're not sorry."
But no, yeah, it was a fun little event. We won't go through what we took in our army list, because obviously we've already been through that in the other video. But like I say, I took Tomb Kings, and all we'll do is we'll just do a quick overview of how some of our games went and how we finished up. We remembered to take pictures of some of the games, but naturally, as anyone does an event, you always forget things like that.
I took pictures of the first game and the last game.
I think I took first, third, fourth, and fifth. No, I might have just forgot third. I don't know. Because that was the last game. Yeah, because this was game one. So this was game one. I played against Matt Passfield. I played him before at Forgotten North. He looked Tomb Kings last time. This time he brought Cathay. And I'll be honest, it was the one. I mean, if you saw the other video, it was the one list at the event I didn't want to bump into, and I got it game one. Yeah, so it was basically double balloon, double shug, double cannon, few Jed Warriors, and 3 Bricks Peasants. And needless to say, I got stomped. I think it was a 6-0 to Matt, and I think he tabled me on turn 5.
Okay,
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to say about this game, to be fair. Like, my ward saves weren't great. Matt's cannons rolled exceptionally well. I think the Tomb King, the Necrosphinx got killed by 2 cannons, turn 1. And then the other 2 cannons that obviously use the Oglows shoot again took 6 wounds off the Tomb King. So yeah, I lost 12 wounds of monsters turn 1. I managed to regen 2 back onto the King, but then obviously I think he ended up getting a unit of peasants and then eventually getting Monkey King in the rear. But yeah, one of the shugs. But yeah, and then like I say, the balloons basically slowly went round, shot the casket to death, things like that, and just slowly plinked me. I can't remember what I got in return. I think I got one of the cannons and a unit of peasants. That was about it. But yeah, Cathay's not a good matchup for Tomb Kings or anybody. So I think I've got your game one up here. So
yeah,
you played Jack game one.
I played Jack Cropper game one from the Rallying Cry podcast. Yeah, Jack was running Vamps, not usual Vamps. It was double Zombie Dragon, double Terrorgeist, big Graveguard block with a White King, not White Lord, and some zombies. It wasn't a bad game. It was basically Jack. It was a draw in the end. There was like a few close moments where I could have like swung it just over. But basically it came down to, by the end of the game, Jack had killed 2 cannons. And unfortunately, a unit of Rangers that he charged with the Terrorgeist turn 3, or 2, turn 2 I think. He charged turn 2, and they ran up. They just broke and fled, and he killed them. The 2 Doomseekers did one-shot that Terrorgeist though, which was quite fun. But yeah, no, it was a pretty back and forth game. I mean, Jack sort of knew he was on the back foot from the get-go. I basically put both flaming cannons. He put all his monsters in a far corner behind hills just to try and stop them getting shot to bits. I went quite heavy on the gyros on that flank. I put 6 gyros over there, and then put the 2 flaming cannons because both his characters were flammable. And then, yeah, just shot. Like, turn 1, I think I took like 2 wounds off a Terror Guys. He moved up turn 2. He screamed a gyro, and then basically, once I passed both screams, I think he screamed it twice, did nothing. He just went, I'm not even going to bother anymore. He just went quite aggro. And then I looked out on some stuff, like one of his dragons, he got them both in position to charge. And one charged, but the other one failed, because it was quite a large charge, because obviously he had to, even though he was skirmish, he had to wheel to try and get the line on him. Yeah, and the cannons died. One went off, and then I shot, and I put both of his. Unfortunately, by the end of the game, I put both the dragons down to 2 wounds, not 1. Because if I'd done 1 to just both of them, I would have got effectively the cost of one of them, which would have pushed it to like a 4-2. And the Graveguard were alive on 2 models by the end of the game, so it was fine. It was unfortunately it's one of those guys where the list I took, it's not very interactive. That's sort of the whole point. Like, I think I only held for a couple of combats at this event. Like, most of the time, it was just like run away. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point. Like, everything that would go in would just. So yeah, but it was a 3-3 in my favour. I think by like 50 points or something. And yeah. So
my game 2, if I've got, there we go. My game 2 was obviously into our friend that we went with, which was Ollie, who was on Cathay. Obviously, he wasn't running usual Cathay, as you can see by the photo. He was running triple Sentinel Cathay. So obviously, he had a Shug with a regen blade, double cannon, triple Jade Warrior, I think 2 Sword and Board, 1 with Halberds, and then 3 Jade Sentinels. I think he went triple Wind Blast in this, because this obviously
King of the Hill.
In this picture, I know you can't see this, Rob, but the Tomb Guard didn't start on the hill. It's just I got turn 1, and I only realised halfway through my turn 1 that shit, I haven't took a pre-game, so I took a picture now. So the Tomb Guard were in that gap between the Necrosphinx and the Skellies. But yeah, this event was running King of the Hill, so, and luckily that did sort of the only reason I won this game.
Yeah.
I think by the end of it, I'd managed to get all 3 Sentinels. He did manage to kill him below the King with the Sentinel, or Monster Slayer the King with the Sentinel, sorry. And I think he got the Necrosphinx and the Casket.
And there's a Scorpion as well.
Yes, I think he got all my monsters, the Casket, and
the Skellies. I think all's left is Tomb Guard and the Archers, right?
Yeah, I think Tomb Guard and the Archers. I think he got everything else. I managed to get, I believe, 1 of the Cannons, 1 of the Jade Warriors, and all 3 Sentinels. But the main thing was I got, I think, 1,300 points off the hill. He got 400, so then that sort of net lost everything I'd lost.
It was that last turn. Like, Ollie wanted the game to end there.
Oh, that was another thing, yeah, because it was random game length, and I think this went to 8 turns, which obviously then got me a few more turns of scoring. So it was a 4-2 to me, only just, I think, a 4-2 as well, so it wasn't a massive win, but if it weren't for the hill, it would have been completely in Ollie's favour, because, like I say, he just killed so much stuff. But just skip that photo. But it just shows that I think why most events don't run King of the Hill, because it can be quite swingy. I like it because it stops certain lists, but then I think like the double blob Tomb Kings and things like that, just it's an auto win for them.
Yeah, well, because that sort of actually came up in my game too. So in my game too, I played against. I have any pictures of it, unfortunately. Sorry. It's terrible pictures. I always am. I played against Alex and his Ogre's Kingdoms. Slightly varied ogre list. It's not like it still had like a mini gut bus, so it wasn't like 9 iron guts. It was just 6. He had a Thunderizer Tyrant. He had BSB, usual sort of stuff. 1 Iron Blaster, a couple of units of Noblars, big unit of Sabertusk, which are quite spicy, a level 4 Slaughtermaster, and a Hunter. And yeah, the King of the Hills, like it's where he got most of his points. So I got turn 1. Turn 1, I got some lucky stuff. So like turn 1, I killed a unit of Noblars. They were quite near the board edge. I got good hits with the clatter gun, killed 6. They broke and fled, ran off, just fell back good order off the board. I put a load of cannon shots into the Mournfang. I think I killed like 1 and a bit. I think I killed 2. I want to say it was either 1 and a bit or like 2 of them, and then just did a bit of damage. I think I killed like 1 of the Sabertusks, almost killed the Hunter, and put 2 wounds on the Iron Blaster. So like just sort of a bit of plink, just sort of general damage. His turn 2. He did some charges. I like ran away with some with the saber tusks. The Mornfangs slowly moved up. He kind of sort of just potted around. He moved the Iron Guts onto the hill because I put one of the unit rangers on the hill turn 1 with Scout. I took the risk because I was like, if I get turn 1, it's just 100 free VP. So even if it risks them, it forces him to come and get the hill off me at least. So it basically puts the Iron Guts kind of where I want them, which is bang in the middle of the board, so I can just swarm. Yeah, and then I think he did a bit of blink damage. He killed a gyro with the cannon. And I think he took like a wound off with like a fireball or something. And then his turn 2, my turn 2, I managed to put the Mornfang down to 1 guy on a wound. I put the hunter down to like a wound. I killed the cannon. And I did like a couple of wounds to Slaughtermaster. Again, just sort of blink damage really. Did some damage to the Mornfang and whatnot. And then there was some moments which were a bit touch and go, but I lucked out. So the main moments really were he charged the Mornfang into a cannon, it fled. He then charged into a Doomseeker, killed the Doomseeker, great for me. Then overran into just no man's land. And he was on 1 wound, surrounded by 4 cannons in grape shot range. So, you know how that went.
Yeah, that'll do
and
it.
then and then he cast the toughness spell on his Slaughtermaster, became T6. Oh, this is a problem. And he charged into a unit of gyros. I stood and shot, got like 5 or 6 hits, and did 3 wounds to him. On standard shoot, he got in. He had Plague of Rust on me, so I was like, this is gonna hurt. Like, this is not good. He did a wound with an impact hit. It's like, okay, that's not too bad. And then did no wounds with his attacks. And I did nothing in return, but I was already up 3 combat res. So and then he broke and fled. The gyros court killed him. So, and then effectively, I managed to mop up most of the stuff, like dangerous stuff. I killed the hunter, I killed the Mornfang, I killed the Slaughtermaster. Basically, all that was left was the gut bus, and I just flew all the gyros right towards the hill. Had the grape shots, had the cannons. Like even when he was on the hill, I was doing solid shot cannons because I was just going 10 for the back of like a guy in the unit. With the logic being, like, I think I was going 10 for the back of his BSB, who was tanking it because he had 4 wounds and he had the meteoric iron. But he sort of sat there, and I moved everything out of 12 so he couldn't charge. And then he kind of went, right, I can't sit here and just get shot. So I'll score, but they're just going to die. But they ended up moving up. He got the Noblars within the range of the hill, and then following turn, I just peppered the unit. And then the final, I think, straw that broke the camel's back was he charged his Tenderizer Tyrant into 5 rangers. Got in, took a wound on stand and shoot. Did 1 wound with an impact hit. No wounds with the Tenderizer because he only got 2 hits, only 1 wound, and I sacked a 6 on it. And then broke and fled because I outnumbered him. So, yeah, that was a rougher game because of some lucky things on my part. But I ended up tabling him. But he held I'll be honest, we forgot random term length. I completely forgot it was a thing. Which I think, well, but not just me, both me and my opponent forgot in a lot of the missions. Which I don't want to say it would have made a difference, but in that mission in particular, ironically, it probably could have got me the win overall, because if I'd had like 2 more turns of random game length, I could have just sat on the hill for like 3 turns freely. That's hindsight. It's just it is the end of the world. And but yeah, so I tabled him. He held the hill, but the difference was I held the hill, killed his baggage, and controlled mine. So and because I killed his general and his BSB, all the secondary points effectively just cancelled the hill points almost. And then at that point, he killed a cannon and a gyro. So, and all the Doomseekers were dead. So
yeah, like I say, I'm not sure if every event should run King of the Hill as mission because I think it's commonly ignored. No. But I think it can force some like aggressive game plans. It's just I think unfortunately some lists are massively suited into it.
It was the one mission I was most concerned about, because I knew it was the mission I just didn't have the controlling power for. So I did what I was intending to do, which was scout rangers on it. Like, thankfully, he did one thing, which was he put the Mornfang slightly off to the side, because what I was really worried that he would put Mornfang bang in the middle, so that if I put anything on, they could just charge straight away.
Yeah.
But he put them slightly off, so I basically stayed out of their max charge range, so they're going to go in. But yeah, that was the one mission I wasn't looking forward to. But yeah. And then we had game 3. What did you have game 3?
I don't think I've got a photo of my game 3, but I played into Renegade Demons, specifically a Khorne army. So I played Pete, and essentially he had double Bloodthirster. One had the Monster Slayer axe, one had the Flayer, which is like D3 wounds.
Yeah.
Then he had some Blood Crushers with a Herald in there, and then just a fuck ton of Bloodhounds. I think he had 2 units of 8, a unit of 6, and a unit of 4. And I've only ever played Demons once before this, and ironically it was the last time I was at OnlyFlanks, and played Jack Croppers when he brought Nurgle. So this time I played Khorne, and I think Bloodhounds are deceptively deceiving, like, because you just see these little small units of heavy cav, but they're 2 wounds each, their weapon skill 5, the strength and toughness 4. I think on the charge they've got 3 attacks each at strength 5. They pack a punch, but like I say, it was the Bloodthirsters that was mainly the pulling force. The mission, I believe, game 3 was domination and
Strat 3.
Oh, Strat 3 domination. A very aggressive game, obviously, like any Khorne player does. He just pushed everything up and forced an issue. I tried to maneuver to try and not let him charge as often as he can until I had full buffs up. But I think by the end of the game, it was basically me dancing around. He managed to get the casket. I think he got everything apart from the Tomb Guard brick, but he got them down to about 9 guys, and the dragon. So the dragon managed to finish off one of the Bloodthirsters. The other one was just in combat with the Tomb Guard for most of the game, and I was just feeding him characters. So unit champion went in. I think luckily on one of those turns I managed to win in his turn, so I could res the champion back and send him back in. But I think I fed a Bloodthirster, a unit Tomb Guard champion twice, a Necrotect. He ended up getting a rear charge with the Bloodthirster and a front charge with the other Bloodthirster, so the Prince went into one combat, and then he wailed on my Hierophant and my Mort Priest. He didn't manage to kill the Mort Priest, but he got the Hierophant. But then luckily I rolled quite well on the crumbles on the important stuff for the next 2 turns. But that ended in a draw. Like I said, it was a real close game. I managed to snag some points back on domination just because he didn't have a lot on the board at that point. I think, like I say, I had the Tomb Guard, or most of the Tomb Guard, minus 4 characters, and the Dragon. And he had 1 Bloodthirster left, which was his general. And the unit of 8 Fleshhounds, I think, which had 3 left. So obviously they weren't worth anything.
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun game. Like I said, a second ever game into Demons, and it was a real aggro game, which was quite fun.
But it's on stream though.
Yeah, it was on the Facebook stream.
If you want, it was on their Facebook stream.
If you do follow the Juggernaut Wargaming, there's a cat that's just appeared on my roof. How have you got there, Pippin? My door's shut. That means you've climbed up the house. But no, yeah.
Acrobatic, right?
I'm sure it'll just grace his presence behind me in a minute. But no, yeah, it was a fun game. I don't think there's much more I would have done differently in that. There was one slight misplay, I think, where I killed his Blood Crushers with my King on Dragon, and I could have overran into his Bloodthirst. It was on 1 wound, but I forgot it was on a wound, so I reformed instead. But then obviously in his turn, he just rear charged the Tomb Guard, and then that spiraled out of control. So I think I should have rolled the dice at that point and gone in. He'd have gone first, obviously, with his D3 wound Bloodthirster. But I think I was on like 7 wounds at that point, so I should have just rolled the dice. But
you also got triple save and regen and all that. So
I mean, my wards were not being kind at this event, I must admit. But turns out when they're not a Lady of the Blessing ward, I don't make them.
Yeah.
A 5-up regen is apparently.
Yeah.
That was my game 3. So for me, going into day 2, I was 1 loss, 1 win, 1 draw. So I wouldn't complain at that. I don't think the next pit. You haven't got to get a picture for game 3 either.
No, I literally got a picture of game 1 and game 5 because I'm terrible. Game 3, I played against Liam Jordan, the other member of the Rallying Cry podcast, or one of the other members of Rallying Cry. He was playing his Nomadic War. He ran a massive brick of 13 Boar Boys with a Cackling Blade Killy War Boss, a triple save tanky War Boss, a level 2 Wizard, and a BSB. Totem of Wrath, Anti-Monster Hunter, Anti-Stomp Banner, the lot. And then he had a bone grinder, a little unit of wolf, 2 units of wolf riders. With one of them had a level 2 goblin wizard, 4 goblin chariots, and a pump wagon. And he got first turn. I looked at a little bit. I got a free kill on one of the chariots, because what I did was I vanguarded up and put 3 of the chariots in impetuous range, and like positioned it so that basically one chariot would have to go to one unit, one chariot would have to go another one, chariot go another one. He charged one chariot in because they're impetuous. I stood and shot, did 2 wounds to it. He got in with his impact hits, did 2 wounds to me, did nothing with anything else, and then I killed it in return in combat. So I thought that's good. And then his turn 1, he sort of pushed everything up a bit. You had 2 chariots in front of the ball brick. He put the giant around the flank. The other chariot kind of came down in front of the rangers, and the wolves kind of protect. He basically was trying to give cover to the main block, so I couldn't just fly around it. But the gyros are so quick, you just can't really do it because you can just fly to the back of them and stuff. So my turn 1, I killed one of the chariots. I killed like a few boar boys. I think I killed like 3, maybe 4-ish, and killed the 8-man unit of wolf riders. His turn, he got 2 of the chariots into combat with cannons. 2 of them. Killed both, overran with one off the board, the other one stayed on the board, which was kind of the perfect scenario for me, because then it just meant that I had that kind of break. Moved the bone grind around. The other unit was basically having to try and tackle with one T5 gyro, and it kept bouncing out. I was so lucky with his spell cast. I think he cast Fireball once, and it did no damage, and never got Here We Go off. It never cast. And we basically worked everything out. The main cock-up I made, which meant it pushed it, because at the end of the game was a 5-1 win to me, because I held all 4 quarters, 3 of which was uncontested, and I'd killed everything in Liam's army, bar the full bore block, any of the characters in there. So, and he killed 2 cannons, but the problem I had was on one of the turns I parked a Doomseeker on the edge of the boar boy unit, and then hammered the crap out of it, so it shrunk, so he could just run straight past it. He then ran, killed one of the other Doomseekers, overran into a gun thane who couldn't evade out of the way, which meant he was in combat on my turn. So all I then did was pan my attention to the bone grinder, killed the bone grinder, finished off a load of other stuff, and basically accepted it. And then the rangers both died to the units, because the problem with my list, the way it functions, is unless you're like guaranteed to either get killed or beat the enemy in combat with, especially with the ranger blocks, you just have to flee with them. It's 150 points that you could consider just throwing away. But 1, there's that chance they don't catch them. And 2, you want them to die if they do catch them. You don't want them to get locked in combat, because then what happened with the gun thane is the worst scenario, where he's safe. Because the safest place for him is in combat with my shit. So that's why I just run away every time. But by the end of the game, he did kill... all the gyros were alive, but he'd killed 2 cannons... and both ranger blocks, so that was, and the gun thane. So that was probably the most I lost all weekend. I think Jack was close, but it was a good game. But by the end of it, because I'd killed basically all of Liam's army and held all the quarters, it was quite a big swing in my favour. So yeah, that was a 5-1 win to me now. So into game day 2. I was 1 draw, 2 wins.
Yeah, so yeah, like I say, again into day 2, so round 4. I think I have a photo of this one. That's Matt. For some reason, it's second on here. Yeah, I played into Brian Carmichael and his Orcs and Goblin horde, and I mean that literally.
It is a horde.
As you can see by the picture, Jesus. I think he had 140 inventory. 3, 6,
there was
9.
There was 90 orcs and
90
like
orcs,
40 goblins or 60 goblins.
60 goblins and 7 trolls, and then
and boars.
8, including characters. I think there was like a 9-man boar unit.
there's what 150, 70 models almost.
Yeah, it's a big old army. The mission for this one I think was just strat 2, and
draw hammer. We
that
like
was
to call
it. So it was fairly dull on that. As you see by the photo, the Skellies just held my back objective. He had a unit ball mob sat on his back. This was a fairly quick game. I think we were finished in like an hour and just over an hour, because like it's just a dull matchup. I couldn't. Undead obviously fear big combat res bricks, so I couldn't really send too much in. I knew I had to try and get the ball boys for points, but obviously he tried to protect those well. I did make one major tactical blunder which fed a few points, or 2 technically. I got first turn. No, sorry, I got second turn. He pushed up the boars. I put the Necrosphinx literally just out of their arc to try and obviously force them to put them in a position next turn where they could potentially get flanked from the Tomb God or flanked from the Necrosphinx, one or the other. But then he had the glowy green element on them, so I was like, well, I'll try a Wind Blast because it's unlikely to go off. And he rolled a 1, so it went off. I did kill 2 boars, but then the Give Ground put the Necrosphinx back in arc. So I was like, that was a blunder. So naturally, he just charged it, rinsed it, reformed, and he was where he was anyway. So I did sort of feed him 200 points there. And then in a later turn, I was flying the Carrion all around his back line, ready to basically try and get like a rear charge off at one point, because I did end up killing about 5 of the boars through magic missiles and just shooting, so he cut his losses and just left all the characters out and scattered them. So the Carrion was sort of slowly flanking around to maybe get the jump on one of the characters, but when the boar boys fled through his army and rallied, they were facing me, and I forgot to move them. So then in his turn he just charged them and finished them off. So I did feed him 280 points, and that did feed into the end result, because obviously it was a draw. I think all I lost was the 2 models in question and the casket, because eventually this far right unit of goblins just kept marching up all game, and eventually just got into them because I had to sort of engage into the left side where everything else was. The Tomb Guard was in the Tomb King was in combat with a brick of orc mobs for pretty much the whole game. Eventually killed enough to make them break and flee. So I think on his half I got I think I got half points for the trolls, because I think I managed to get them down to a couple models. One of the boy mobs didn't get anything for the ball boys because they went down to 2, and I think I got 50 points for his general at the end of the game because he failed an impetuous test when he left the unit, went into the Tomb Guard, took 2 wounds, broke and fled, but then fled through the whole army and then didn't rally. And then, like I say, he got the Necrosphinx, the Casket, and the Carrion. So my mistake, but it's what happens. So
you learn.
Yeah, that's just it. So that ended in a 3-3 draw. And like I said, I think we were finished in an hour and 10 minutes because they were fairly quick turns. He knew he couldn't charge the Tomb Guard reliably when I had all the buffs, and I couldn't engage up too much because he just out combat res me. So I very much sat in my sector and just protected my objective and just see what points I could gather.
When in my game 4, I played against AD and his Brett. Lovely bloke. I've seen his Undead Bretonians, but this was his Kingdom of Heaven Bretonians. Really cool concept. And we had so obviously his Bretonians. So I had a fair amount of experience into them playing down a lot. And he was playing Errantry Crusade. Honestly, like it's usual sort of Errantry Crusade. A couple of units of Knights Errant, a few peasants, a Grail Monk unit, which was interesting. And then Big Peg Star and Duke on Epigraph. He prayed turn 1. Turn 1, I basically I was quite aggressive because the beauty is against Bretonians, because there is that obviously possibility of them not praying. But we were discussing it, and we discussed it multiple times, that I think 90% of the time, though, it's just not worth it. Because if you then don't win the roll-off, you're there without your ward save, which is just even worse. So he prayed. Turn 1, I managed to put both Knights Errant unit down to 2 wounds. I'd killed a fucking couple of skirmishing archers, and that was it. And then his turn 2, he kind of just sort of pushed the pegs all. Oh, sorry, I also took a wound off his Baron because he basically had a hill in his deployment, and he put all the bus, the Knights of the Realm, the Damsel, and his Duke all behind the hill, away from all the cannon shots. So basically away from everything. And then turn 2, the Duke and the Pegasus flew all the way over behind this clump of buildings and remained there the entire game. There was rather than go through all the nitty gritty, I basically managed to kill everything but let a damsel on a wound, and then didn't touch any of the really expensive stuff. So I killed all his peasants. He killed a cannon. Well, I killed cannon. It misfired, rolled a 1. And then all the Doom Seekers were alive, much to my best efforts. I had one fighting the Grail Monks, and it was on 1 wound for ages, and just couldn't finish it off. And then I also I did a suicide charge, on my turn 6, managed to get a charge into the pegs, and they only did 1 win to him. So AD got 250 for that, and I managed to hold the objectives. But there was one turn where he did consider, the Duke left, his Baron, which was immune to multiple wounds, left the pegs and flew over to the B side of the woods. The pegs hid behind the woods, and then the Duke was there. But he ummed and ahed about it for a while, and then really decided it's not worth it. And I think, to be honest, it was probably the best call. If he'd sent them that way, I'd have enough. He was only in range of like 1 cannon, so I could move them all, and then I'd flee away. Because again, it's one of those where it's like, yeah, I'm going to trade the cannon, but if he gets it, it's dead anyway. And for me, I'd rather him catch it, kill it, and then not move anymore. The overrun is worse, and all the extra movement and all that sort of stuff's way worse. And he ummed and ahed about it for ages, and decided it's not worth it. Because I only at that point had 4 cannons, but I had 4 cannons. All the gyros could just move straight over, and obviously because they've now got, both of them have arcs, I could basically get within range and I'd just shoot all the cannons probably in. I'd probably go for the Baron because he was his general, but 4 cannons, ranges, the gun thane, and then like 4 units of 2 gyros that'll probably put the Baron down, who's already on a wound. So at that point, he's only 3 wounds, and he's a 3 up, 5 up, or 3 up, 6 up against all the strength 4 shooting. So, or 4 up, 6 up. So he just decided against it because he just thought, because if he'd done that, well, at that point it would have been a way bigger win for me. But by the end of the game, as I say, I held the objective, killed everything bar basically the characters and the Pegasus Knights. So it was a 4-2 by like 12 points. I think the difference was like 700 and like something, and to get it at 5-1, it's like 750 odd. So yeah, but it was a good game, and yeah. You could talk about your game 5 because it'll be a lot more interesting than my game 5.
Well, my game 5 was against Alex Foster, who's obviously the ogre player you played in round 2, 3.
Yeah,
round 2. Yeah. So this was special feature baggage carts, and it was I always forget what the deployment's called, but the one where you pick a corner.
Yeah.
I think it's chance encounter.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I managed to get when they roll off and get first turn, and I'll be honest, I got extremely lucky in this game in terms of how Alex rolled. So he had this big unit of saber tusks with, I forget what the character's called, a hunter. He had a hunter in there, a big unit of saber tusks just flanking around, and then obviously the aim with those was they was going to basically try and flank around all game to try and get the baggage cart in the casket. He moved them up, and then I didn't cast Light of Protection on the casket, and they were the only thing I could see. So I was like, well, I might as well try Light of Death. I cast it, he didn't fated it, he failed the leadership, and I killed like 5 saber tusks because obviously it's strength 6.
Yeah, they just melt.
Wounds, 2, no armor. So what was normally a lot of wound pools and a fairly tanky unit, just half of it disappeared. He passed the panic, luckily, so he didn't run off the board, but then it just meant they couldn't get the baggage cart anymore. There was significantly less threat, so they just sort of went behind the hill while he decided what to do with them. He had his Slaughtermaster lingering around on his own at the back, so he had like different options to cast Earthen Ramparts on and so on. And then my Tomb Scorpion came on the back, and turn 2 managed to get a 15-inch charge into the back of him, and I managed to get the 6, so I just snipped him, kill and blowed, got rid of the wizard. The Iron Guts basically manoeuvred around the tower on the top side. My Tomb Guard basically kept just lingering around on the bottom, but because I had full buffs off, and the dragon sort of lurking in the flank, he couldn't really ever engage because he just front charged the Tomb Guard with full buffs. They were like, he'd hit me on 6s, all that jazz, and then get flanked by a dragon in return on my turn. So it was a big basically game of chicken in the middle to basically keep our biggest core units touching the hill to see what could happen. The biggest, I think, unlucky moments though, this game went to 9 turns, I think. And in the last 3 turns of the game, he had 3 cannon shots on my casket. First 2 times it hit, and he rolled 1s to wound both time. And the third time, he went 10 from the back, rolled a 4, and then just dudded. So he just couldn't get the casket basically. It rolled quite unfortunate. And then also on turn 7 or 6, I think, I managed to keep plinking the Mournfang down with Skelly Archers and Wind Blasts. And then I got them to bang on 50%, and they failed to panic, ran, and just didn't rally for the rest of the game. So they didn't run off the board at the end, but obviously they were fleeing. But obviously after a few turns of trying to attempt to rally, just didn't do it. So yeah, I ended up losing the Necrosphinx, I think, because that did end up flying up on one of the turns and trying to go for the cannon. But the Tenderizer General Tyrant left the unit, rear charged me, killed me, and then rejoined the unit, which was actually quite funny.
And runs out, beats you there, then runs
yeah, just like it was nothing. So yeah, I managed to get his wizard the half the points for the Mournfang. I managed to get the Hunter unit and the Sabertusk in the end, and the middle, we both held our own baggage carts. But obviously by the end of the game, I think I'd only lost the Necrosphinx and the Carrion, I want to say.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he eventually got the casket. Oh no, I think he got the casket down to 2 wounds. I think the Hunter on his own eventually made it into combat, but he whiffed, and then the Great Weapon Crew just finished him off. So like I say, it was quite unlucky on Alex's part. None of the magic really went in his favour as well. I did end up miscasting 4 times though with my wizards, which obviously wasn't ideal. Luckily, I kept rolling fairly medium results and just did a low damage to the unit, but then ended hailing it back.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly uninteractive game, I think, for the last one of the day. But sometimes I think that's what you need because most people are like burnt out at this point. But you know, like I say, Alex's army is cool. There's a lot of conversions, but he did roll quite unfortunate. So obviously ended up with a 4-2 to me, I think. 4-2.
Nice. So what that leave you on for the weekend?
So I think I was on 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss.
It's pretty good going, eh?
So obviously they used a 6-0 system. I think I ended up on. Yeah. I got 6-0'd. Then obviously I got a 4-2, so that put me on 4. I got a 3-3, put me on 7. I got another 3-3 that put me on 10. And then
4-2. And then you what was the final game against Alex? What's the score on that? Is that 5-1?
No, I think this might have been a draw because this was my second draw. Oh no, because I drew against Orcs and Goblins. I drew against Demons. That's 6. I got 4-2 against Ollie, which is 10. Oh no, 14, and then I got 4-2 in this. Because then obviously I got 6-0 by the Cathay. So yeah, I ended up on 14 on a 6-0 system. 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, which I'll take. It's the first event I ever took Team Kings to, so I can't complain. Yeah, and then your game 6, which we
have a picture
for.
It was a draw. I will just leave it there. No, final game. I was playing against vampires. It was full-on vampires. It was triple scream, Mortis Engine, Hex Raids, Graveguard, the works. But unlike when I played against Sam Toll for Go North, they're no strat. It was baggage carts and central objective. And the advantage I had was I do think, to be honest, it was one of those where I think there was more fear from the magical shooting than necessarily needed to be, but it's also understandable at the same time. Because I deployed, because of how many drops my list was, it was like, right, Doomseeker, Gyro, his whole army came down. But basically, he had his Mortis, both Banshees, his Black Coach, the Hex Wraiths, his actual General Necromancer, all behind this one set of woods. The Graveguard block was there, and then he had zombies holding the baggage, and then zombies flanking either side of the woods. And he was quite far back. I put one of my units scouted on the middle. I had 1 holding the baggage. I had cannons kind of like 2 on this point on my deployment, 2 here, and then Gunflame in the middle, and then just gyros around the flank. And to be honest, like, there's not much to say really. He sat back, and I flew up, stayed out. I basically went, "What's your maximum scream?" because he didn't get the teleport spell, which is quite good for me. He only had the fly 10. He only had one of them, so his max screen was 18 inches. So I just sat outside of 18 basically. So if he wanted to scream me, it'd take 2 turns, and then yeah, I basically just and his hex race couldn't go anywhere because they were moving around a flank. But because of where the cannons and the gun thing were, there was a building they had kind of safety, but they could not move anywhere to kind of like where they wouldn't get hit by either. And they were way far away from reses. But by his turn 4, beginning of his turn 4, I think it was either his turn 4 or his turn 5. We just decided to call it a draw because we both had our baggage, so that was null and void. I held the middle, but we basically said that the Doom Seekers were I counted them as living, so he got 150 for them. And he was like, well, what if I kill? Because he put one of the 60-point steam gyros down to 1 wound with Unquiet Spirits. And he was like, well, what if I kill that? And I was like, well, it's 60 points. So I was like, you're now technically 10 points up, but it's still a draw. Because the difference is 6-0 is like 300 points to not make it a draw.
Yeah, it's like 1, isn't it?
Yeah, and the problem was, he was like, I can't be aggro. Because he was like, as soon as I push, you could just start going for the value. Because to be honest, as soon as he puts like the black coach out in the open, I just shoot everything in it and I will kill it. And then as soon as he puts the hex race out in the open, they'll like the gun fakers just one bang them, and then even then the cannons can like grape shot and all that sort of stuff into them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like if he exposes something, you just rinse it. But if you end up just trying to like overextend,
be aggressive,
something, you end up just feeding. So it's like none of you.
So it's push. Just not going to do anything. Like there is a picture of it somewhere, and I really like it. But there was a moment where literally he was in this corner, and I just had the entire line of gyrocopters in front of it, just like waiting. And it was like, I was like, because I said it's up to him. I said we could keep going, but I was a bit like, because literally all like I killed 60 zombies out of a 20-man unit. You know what I mean? Like I literally shot the crap out of a unit. Got them, the best I got down to was 5, but then they just res back up another like 11 the next turn, and then I'd like shoot them again and all this. So we were just like I probably could have got the Doom Seeker, but the thing is, it was like hypothetically I could have. I was like, well, I could probably get the Doom Seekers either killed or get them killing stuff. Because I was like, because at one point one of them ambushed because they got misbehaving mercenaries and ambushed on. So I was going to be able to put one into the flank of the unit of zombies and one into the front. So I was like, I might pop those zombies because I was like, if they, twos hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, you get just regen, and then with impact hits, and then plus I have a flank. I said, you're probably not going to do much in return. Worst case, if you kill them, I'm great. But then they pop it, it's like 50 points. So it's like I said, the problem is at the moment, the difference is there's just not going to be big enough difference. I said, I'm not killing the Graveguard, I'm not getting any of the big stuff, I'm not killing the Hex Wraiths. Even if I pop both units of zombies and the Doom Seekers die, that puts me at 280 up. It's still a draw. Yeah. And I said, because I did consider again on a turn maybe sending like 4 units of gyros in to because these Graveguard are right on the corner of the board, or right on the edge of the board. Sorry. So I was like, well, if I send them in and then overrun and maybe beat you in combat and push you off the board, then I win. But then the problem is there's a trade-off. That would be in his turn, and he could just get both screams in range and probably just melt them, and it'd be like, well, that's then 240 points in his favour. So. I was like, I'm not going to do it. It's too risky. I'm not going to get your baggage. You're not getting mine. You have the Hex Race. That's the only unit. He wasn't going to be able to hold the middle because it was his turn 4, or I'd say 5, and he was still in that corner. So I was like, it's going to take you 2 turns, and as soon as you push, I'm going to get something that's worth more than the 200. Like I said, I'll probably at this point just go for the Mortis Engine. Because again, I didn't have a look against Sam. But if I manage to nail it, with 5 cannons, more gyros in the lot, and I'm, hopefully not as lucky rolling as Sam had, and I kill it, well then it's a massive win because I'll get. No, actually it's not. Sorry, because that wasn't his general. But again, his general wasn't in range of any infantry. So if he extended and didn't have it protected, I could then maybe snipe him with a cannon or the gun thane or whatever. But even if I kill the Mortis, it's like 350 points. If I kill like the Black Coach, it's 200 odd points. If I kill the Hex Race, it's like 200 points. So we just sort of went, let's go, because it's boring, and I do agree. But we're both there rolling dice, and at one point, I even just stopped firing cannons. I did start shooting cannons down lines of zombies, which is ridiculous. But I had one cannon misfire and luckily rolled a 2, so he didn't die. Again, wouldn't have made a difference for the draw, but luckily he didn't die. But I was like, I'm just not even going to risk the cannons. So it's just not even worth it. Like I said, I'll shoot the... Because the only... Not misplay, but I don't think he didn't realise. But I didn't realise he didn't realise till later on that he was fine. He didn't like change his deployment or which is fine. But he had his... I could get all 5 cannons on his BSB. So my plan was, turn 1, if I got first, was just go 10 for the back, 10 for the back, 10 for the back. So his first move was cast reserve move, and his BSB just ran behind. So he had his BSB out of the unit. He kept rolling the Helmet Commandment on the BSB as well, just out of habit. So his BSB was like, I'm weapon skill 9! And it was like, cool. Chilling at the back going, woo! But yeah, and it honestly, we had a good laugh and stuff. There was some funny moments, ironically, but it was one of those where I think I've played Vamps and Tomb Kings quite a lot now that I've learned you just don't overextend. You just don't get greedy for it. Like, you play for a draw. I was doing all right points wise, so I just played for a draw. I was like, it's sort of my game to lose, weirdly, like, because I was like, if he overextends, I'm in a good position. Because then, like, if he goes too far ahead, I just yeet a unit of gyros over, grab its baggage. That's 250 points. Or I would, then start like hammering the characters and stuff like that. And then at that point, it's like, it's my game to lose. It's his game to sort. He's putting himself at a disadvantage. So I just think he just said it's not worth the risk. But yeah, so it was a draw. Again, that was on stream. We had the discussion. We finished with like an hour left, and we just went. So it wasn't the most interesting game to watch. I feel bad because there was like basically no movement. Yeah. So yes, so ended on 3 wins, 2 draws. Technically, both draws were my favour. And ended up with a spoon. Yes.
Yeah, so you ended up, what, second place overall?
Second. I was tied. AD came first. We were tied on tournament points. But what I was saying earlier was by the end of it, it was a 200. If I got 280 more VP, I would have picked him. So in our game, the Cannon and the Doom Seekers would have been 250 points of that. But yeah, so it's one of those. It was bloody close, but really good weekend. It was a really good weekend. It was a nice. It was, as you say, it was quite like I sort of spoke and chatted with everyone because the problem when you go to the big 60-person events, they're great because they're like, it's amazing. There's loads of people there, but at the same time, when you go to these little smaller ones, it's nice because it's just sort of like you can meet everyone, you can have a chat. It's a bit more chill. I mean, I do also like this event because we both came away with models. You got a Giant, and I got a box of Empire captains because you just raffled off. Like, this is the joke. It's like, so I got a silver spoon. Like, Ollie unfortunately lost those games, so he got the wooden spoon. And then AD got a gold spoon, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the winning... Yeah, it's there. Like,
yeah, I think it's like I say, it's a good balance that the Juggernaut gaming guys have because they make sure they make it clear in the event pack, like it's a competitive event. They don't make it like push for tryhards and stuff, but like it's a GT. Everyone's here to try and win, but have fun whilst they do it. And it was a good crowd, but like I say, the prize support was always phenomenal. So I think they had it was £45 for a ticket. There was 16 of us, and I think they had £390 worth of prize support.
Yeah, it's like 400 quid, yeah.
Like Rob said, they basically had a bunch of stuff on a table, and it went from a little Archmage on foot for High Elves up to a Battalion Dwarf box to even like a foam giant carry case thing.
I needed that.
Yeah.
I need more gyros.
Yeah, that comes with inventory, so you can actually play rank and flank, right?
Yeah, but I don't need that. I've got like 160 Dwarf Warriors. I'll never see the board, but they're there.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was good. Everyone came away with something. I'd like to say I got another Chaos Gargant, so that's a third one. Whether I'll ever use a third one, we'll see. But
Greetings to the Warp, that's what you use it.
Yeah, we're in 10 of them.
Yeah, but I mean, after the event, I think like for me, I was just chatting with everyone because it's one of those where like even though it seems like I'm trying to bullshit or blag, and lie to myself, I don't enjoy using the dwarves anymore. because it is a very boring game. You know what I mean? Like
we got to the back end of day one, didn't we? I mean, like me, you, and Ollie sort of like recouped, and we sort of like, how's everyone going? And you were like, fucking having a miserable time. And it weren't for the opponents or anything like that, was it? But you just weren't enjoying playing the dwarves.
It's one of those where it sucks because it's like if you want to play dwarves like in any way competitively, it's like the only way to go personally, because the units just like because in all those games that I played, if I had big bricks of infantry like a Thunderstar, it would have lost me the game every time. That it just would, because I wouldn't have had the extra gyros, I would have had the scouts. So the problem is against the game against Jack, he would have just gone right 4 monsters into it. It's dead. I win.
Yeah.
Against Alex Ogre Star into it, it's dead. I win. AD Peg Bus. Like there's not a single game I played where there wasn't some like Liam's that the Savage the Ball Boys would have just steamrolled it. Like there was no game I had where having that unit was not just going to lose me the game. Because if you put like 50, you've got like it's like 1,000-point unit. And it's like it might have a 3-up save and like a 5-up ward, and it's like got some handguns and stuff, double gun thing, all that crap. But that will not put down the stuff you want. And the beauty is that the opponent, again, in Jack's game, he can go, right, there's 4 monsters, and it won't kill all 4. It'll kill 1. It literally cannot kill all 4. So at that point, 3 will go in. You might do some wounds or stand and shoot, but at that point, they'll just tear you apart. And then you go, cool, I lose combat by 1,000,000. I'm not stubborn. You're -1, break and flee, and then you just run down and win the game. So I think dwarves are just at that point. Like I chatted with them, and they were like, "Well, what about hammers, longbeards, and all that usual shit?" But it's the same argument but worse. Because ironically, the Thunderstar is probably the best they could build. Like the Hammer of Death Star is insanely good
if you charge,
and that's his problem. You know what I mean? Like it's in the case of that, it would be like, I charge the bots and win. But the problem is they're not core, which they shouldn't be. Just to clarify to whoever watching this video, hammers should not be core. But yeah, so I think it was.
Sorry, Karen.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, but yeah. So it's one of those. I've got the dwarves. I've got that list. I have made a change to it already, ironically, but it's my backup list. It could sit there. I don't need to paint anything for it now. I mean, technically, I need to paint up another cannon for it because in that event I borrowed Dan's, but whether I'll do that, I don't know. But I think it's got to be Empire or Renegade Crowns or just something different. Like I've been coming up with a few different list ideas, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like we spoke about after as well, didn't we? Like, I think one of the issues with dwarves at the minute is you almost can't experiment to the level that everybody else does because we've had 2 new arcane journals now that have expanded the common magic items for everybody, but obviously you don't get access to them. So like all the new cool things like Totem of Wrath, the anti-stomp banner, Banner of Swirling Wind, like the new techie stuff that everybody's got room to like experiment with. They've just not converted them into runes or anything, so you're still stuck with the old stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is that when it comes down to it, it's that whole thing where the biggest problem is dwarves have no way to press the advantage. Like every army could kind of like has the way to kind of just be aggressive with a unit, like because even like your Tomb Kings or whatever, you can get like you could TMP and reserve move and all that. Like you could cross a board in a turn.
They've got the anti-stomp banner, so if they do get a monster mash list, the stomp's not a problem. Like you can,
they're super durable, they're unbreakable. Yeah. Whereas with dwarves, like because again, you could go like Longbeard, Smiting King, and all that, and you could go back to the Yeet. I've never personally played it. I've never obviously it does well. Like some people had good games with it and did well with it. I've never personally been a big fan of it because, it's all that eggs in one basket. I don't like the eggs in one basket. The beauty of my list that I'm running now is everything's fucking worthless.
Yeah, like no unit is worth more than 200 points, right?
The most expensive unit in the army is the Rangers at 156.
Yeah.
So and I was a bit hesitant with the Engineer because my concern was the Engineer was the general, but nobody got near him because it was just that. The problem is like I want to get him, but there's 5 cannons and fuckloads of gyros and just shit everywhere that I just don't. It's literally just like
if you're at the point where your opponent can shoot and kill your general, you've probably lost
the game.
Yeah, you've probably lost enough to lose.
So
anyway.
Yeah, I mean I think as well that list is okay because at this event there was very little scoring and of secondary objectives, and nobody had a no-fly item. Because it's not that it destroys the army, because there's unless you have a lot of shooting, there is so much in the way of
you just essentially lose a turn, don't you?
You lose a turn, and like you are more vulnerable to like charges and stuff. Like you might lose some gyros, but nobody had it. Ironically, Ollie, who I didn't play, had it. But it's one of those where I think I just got to change the armies. Like I want them to give us a new army with me. Like I do, dwarf cav would be nice. I know people that it doesn't fit the dwarf theme, but then the problem is they're putting like, one of the biggest themes for chaos is that they never had shooting. But now they're putting the Chaos Cultists with the bows that are skirmishing in there. So it's kind of like, well, obviously there's certain rules. So I'm like, just give us, like, again, it is cliche. It's just the Hobbit. But it's like, just give us goat cav and little goat chariots. It'd be mint. And like, it'd be so great to be able to just run like a goat army that's like just mega aggro cav that just goes forward. Like, not super fast. Like, it'd be dwarf fast. So it'll still be like move 6 cav and stuff. But it'll just be this idea that they're tough, hardy, impact hits. That'd be great. But yeah. So I think, like, because the toy soldier, which we've got in the next event we got, are you all taking Brett's now? Are you having a little break for the Tomb Kings?
Yeah, like I enjoyed painting the Tomb Kings as a little project. They're different to play, but they're too techy, I think, for me. Like, so I'm not.
Yeah. It's also like I feel like it's just if you're not playing Grand Army Bretonians, it's like the world's telling you something. It's like you're cursed. That is the army you have to play comparatively.
Plus, I think the Tomb King list I ran wasn't like particularly broken, but I think it suffered from the same thing I think your Gyros does. Like, I feel bad for playing them because it's just sort of like, here's a big brick you're never going to kill because I can keep resin it. Here's a monster you're never going to kill, hopefully, because I keep resin it. Like, it just... The armies that weren't Cathay or had an abundance of cannons, like, I just kept... They'd, like, do 2 wounds, I heal them back. They do 3 wounds, they do 2 wounds, I heal them back. So it feels a little bit oppressive, and it's just not my playstyle. Like, the Bretts I quite like because you can just, like... You pray, you get shot, you push things up, you fight some combats, you roll some dice. You either win honourably or lose honourably. It's a giggle to play.
That's fair. I'd like to try and take the Empire. I've been coming up with a few different lists, but I've just sort of realistically, I've got 4 weeks. Can I paint a whole Empire army in 4 weeks? Maybe. I mean, my logic is I might as well crack on, because if I can't, just have to take the dwarves.
Yeah.
That's it. But I'd have to adjust the list because that is a heavy secondary objectives. Or I just take the risk because the thing is, certain secondaries, like baggage is a fine one I could do to a certain point.
It's the strats though, isn't it? Because I don't think they've really comped ramps to that event. And I think there's strat 2, I think it's strat 2, 2, 3, 4, and then one's a special feature.
Yeah. So that'll be a struggle, but I'll have to have a think.
But no,
that was our event. It was good fun.
It was a good.
I got spoon.
I know at the minute this is their second one they've ran. They only run 1 a year. Everyone was sort of prodding them at the end to try and run maybe 2, maybe 3 a year, and they're and ahhing. So like I say, maybe they'll get another one before the end of the year. But like Rob said, we've got Toy Soldier next month, which should be fun, and then after that we've got a more casual event, a 3K. I'm not going to use the word narrative, but it's got its own narrative pack where you get like a free wizard and so on, and that's ran by Creatures from the Warp up in Huxlow.
Yeah, it's more narrative because you play for you play for order or you play for chaos or destruction. You don't play for yourself, so that's how they make it narrative. Because the incentive is like you want to win for everyone.
Your score goes to an overall tally, so it's not. Rob's come first. It's Chaos won the day sort of thing. So it should be quite fun. And then after that we've got a North 5. Yeah, we've got North 5.
Yeah. And then nothing after that, but there'll probably be something. I mean, hopefully Masters, maybe, but it depends because keep the ranking up maybe.
Yeah, I know Sam normally runs a Black Country at the end of the year. That's normally the last scoring event of the year as well. So, and that would be usually early December time. So maybe squeeze that one in, but we'll see.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this, guys. Like I say, we'll try and do another pre-event video for Toy Soldier. I know they like to normally do a list and pairings announcement 10 days before the event, so we'll probably go through that when it becomes apparent. And then again, we'll try and do a post video like we've done this for that, and then we'll just keep rolling them. Yeah.
Try to do a battle report at some point as well, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, like I said, at the minute it's just time, isn't it? We've got a few armies we can use,
time.
You're trying to get off to the Empire painted up. I don't know what my next painting project will be. I'm keep convincing myself not to buy that new Chaos Dragon, but I'll see where we go. But yeah, right. Hope you enjoyed this, guys, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care.
See you in a bit.